Huh?
We are not. We are right now.
We are live. Thank you. Welcome to the call or whatever this is. This is our first time. Welcome to Vibrate and Elevate on this Google Hangout. This is your girl, Miss Controversy Bird. And who do I have with me in the Hangout?
Z.MARIE, ZARMARIE.com.
Ooh.
And what's up? You got your boy Dawson over here. Dawson, what's up? What's up?
Listen, let me give them, I know they're trying to be humble. Z Marie is doing her thing on the writer scene all over the nation. You definitely want to get with her. That's ZaraMarie.com and check her out. And you definitely want to connect with that current event, that cutting edge information with Dawson and Denise TV on YouTube, and also check them out, Dawson and Denise, on Facebook. And you already know how to get in contact with me. That's Miss Controversy Bird on Facebook, PNC Consulting Firm. .com. All I do is bring people together. So speaking of bringing people together, tonight's topic is relationships. Is your relationship status still effing single? Why did I put the effing on there? Because people act like single black women, they just want that permanent status forever. And I'm here to tell you that's a lie, Craig. Okay, that's a lie from whoever. I do not want to be single forever, but I'm interested in why so many women like myself and friends of mine who are young professional females who have so much to offer. Why are we still single? Like, what's going on? What's going on? Any initial comments about this topic of being freaking single?
Yes. First of all, I like to say that question, why so many black women are single, is just loaded because there's so many different reasons depending on that woman's desires, depending on her circumstance of life, depending on her confidence, depending on what part of the nation she lives in. So, a part of that question is assuming that she wants to be in a relationship, but I think that's a fair assumption for us tonight because we, Miss Controversy Bird, and I, Zara Marie, do want to be in relationships. We want to be in loving relationships. And my biggest thing, just as an initial comment, is to say, why wouldn't black women want to be in loving relationships? We all, those of us who want relationships, want it to be something that's healthy. So a part of my frustration, Miss Controversy, on the outset is just people, like you said, just kind of assuming that black women should take what they can get and that kind of thing. Like, I think that is absurd just to our humanity, and so when we start to talk about black women and being underappreciated in our own community and that, in this global world, that's where it's coming from. This kind of marketed idea that black women should shut up, basically, and, we are the, we are our own problem. And I just find that to be completely erroneous. Perhaps that's true for some women, but that shouldn't be a point to make about us because everybody contributes to some of their success and some of their failures. So it's just pardon me, it's a stupid point to make when you're talking about us because you could say that about anybody. So that's just my initial thoughts. I wonder what the man on the line, I wonder if his thoughts are, aligned with ours or if his are different just based on his gender.
Can you ladies hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you well. I don't know why the screen keep flipping back and forth so much.
Oh, it does that whenever somebody talks. It does that. Yeah.
But I haven't been talking.
And it flips back to you? It's just being courteous because you're a woman, so that's why.
Double standards, huh? Okay, so we would love to hear what you have to say in regards to two aspects: being single, period. Wait a minute, are you single?
I have customers, but that's not the topic here. Look,
Ooh,
I think
Boy, stop.
I think no, but I think what you ladies suggested, there are so many women who are they have their careers, they have good jobs, they're beautiful, they have it, they're the total package, and they're not in relationships or committed relationships. And definitely we're not
Yes.
even talking about marriage, because people are not even looking that far these days anymore. And I think because times have changed, because there are a lot of men who are not, maybe not equally the same, but there are a lot of guys who have their stuff all together, and they don't want to be in committed relationships or be married either. And I think a lot of that, I was having this conversation with a friend last week. I think that is just the time. It's just like people, everybody has so much, that they want to do and achieve. And for some people, that's a long stretch. I mean, some people are trying to achieve things that it may take them 3 to 5 years, or maybe 10 years to get, or they see themselves living a certain lifestyle and having being in a committed relationship, perhaps getting married and having kids, that will delay what they want. And so they're not going forth with what their fathers or their mothers did or what they saw growing up. It's like we're in a time now where people are not trying to, marriage is not the first thing on people's mind. And there's so many people who have that, I want to say old mentality, but that traditional mindset, okay, once you get out of school, you get in your career, you find, a man or a woman, and you get married and you have kids. But I've come to learn that that's somebody else's vision for your life, for most people's life, and that's not really what they want to do. And I don't think it's a bad thing, and I think the person who really started that trend is Oprah Winfrey.
Ooh.
and she put
Well,
that, it was like a spell she put out on everybody, that you can have your dream, you don't have to be married, you can be in a committed relationship. And look at her influence, and we came up under that, knowing that we can vacation and have a career and have a job and date and have our own place. We don't need to be like our parents were.
Can I please chime in?
Go ahead.
Okay, first of all, let me say thank you for giving your insight on that. And it's funny how sometimes when we think about being single and not being tied to a more traditional relationship status, that it has a negative connotation, because you said, Oprah kind of put that curse on the scene, or that spell on the scene about, shoot, I don't got to get married. I could do what I want to do with my money and with my little side dude, whatever his name was, the light-skinned dude.
Stedman.
They're still together. Yeah,
Right. But what about the flip side of this reality, where you have young black single women who do want it all? They want someone who shares the goals, and they're willing to start out and maybe in a non-traditional way, but they still want some of those wholesome benefits of a quality relationship. So, that's why I thought about this topic. And because I had a rough week on the single scene, I was like, is my status still effing single? Damn, I got a lot to bring to the table. I mean, normally it's like a lot of people at this door. But
you know what? But go ahead.
But the reality is, I'm not an open door for just any old everybody, because it was a point in time in my life where Miss Bird was like, child, please, next, no, next. Look at your teeth. Next. Do you have a job? Next. Do you have a car? Next. And so now it's like, as I'm older, it's like, wow, I'm willing to compromise. If you don't have a car, I can compromise if you got a degree, because that means that's some potential for you to buy your own car. Like, it's like, really? Is that what I'm juggling right now? And so that's what I find, on the dating scene and being single, but being single with the heart and the mind, body, and soul to be connected in a relationship. It's like you gotta sift through, and the probability in the numbers game. And the dating scene, that's really what the dating scene does for you. It allows you to run through the people. And it's up to you to decide how detached and how much you want to give before that person reaches the next stage. And so I think why a lot of people are single, because it takes work to actually find a quality, relationship of substance. And
that's why, Miss Controversy, this is not a black problem. The
It's
dating
not.
scene sucks or is wonderful, depending on who you ask,
Hmm.
across the board, across the ethnic board, across the race board, across the gender board, because it always depends on if you want to be single and you're not looking, or if you're single and looking. And we happen to be single and looking. And one thing I wanted to say, I was taking notes because I told Miss Controversy, you know, I had to really ask myself, what do I really think? Because a part of me just don't want to talk about this. A part of me is like, I want to be with someone, but it's not happening. So fuck it. You know, a part of me is just like, leave it alone, you know? And what I found out is, you know, what I said to myself is, I think I feel like I'm in a weird place in terms of accepting being single, because for a while I didn't want a relationship. I was happy to date. I was enjoying myself. And so now I'm at the point where I feel like I want a relationship. And so I think people have to be very careful. This has nothing to do with I can't be alone. This has nothing to do with I need a man. No, it's like I want new experiences. You know, I want to have a life partner. I don't want children. I don't want a traditional life like Dawson mentioned. I do think that in our lifetime today, we don't have to be married and have children to till some land. So, you know, for me, it's not that. It's not the idea of a complete family with a dog. For me, it's just a life partner, someone who thinks well, someone who laughs, someone who smiles, someone who wants to enjoy some things, someone who does not want to be caught up in paying bills and going to the movies. You know, somebody who wants to do more than that. So I had to can I get amen?
Hallelujah.
So I had to ask myself, and what I realized is, you know what? I'm in a weird place because the dating scenarios that I have, they're not growing. You know, let's say I was dating someone and they said, you know, you're a great person, let's be friends, I don't want this to go anywhere. That would actually be better than someone telling me they really like me, they, you know, they think the world of me, they want something with me, and then never delivering on that. So my part right now, the reason why I'm kind of like frustrated and kind of like, you know, not wanting to talk about it, though talking about it, is because of these mixed messages, is because of me dating somebody in their 40s and they respond in the same way as somebody in their 30s or 20s. It's because of this level of immaturity. And then this is where I really get, you know, in my metaphysical thing, because I'm like, as far as law of attraction goes, am I attracting these guys? So, you know, it becomes a thing where I just wonder, like, you know, I feel like, you know how sometimes you have to go to God, you pray because you don't have answers. That's how I feel right now. Like, I feel like such a quality woman, but the type of guys that I'm meeting aren't the quality that I want. So it make me question myself. Like, dang, maybe, you know, maybe I'm not ready, or maybe I'm not the quality I think I am, because I don't want this fool, you know.
Okay, can I please comment on that? I'm glad you brought up the metaphysical aspect. I'm glad you brought up the observation that you made about, damn, whether he got status or this or that, you know, these fools, some of these fools are just, they still the same. Whether he has education or not, you know, he's still trying to get some bam bam and you know, be slick and sly about it, versus being upfront and in communication about what he wants, and so on and so forth. And the biggest thing that I think is tough for us single people to talk about is how expectation plays a role. Because me recently, just, you know, going through a little something, like my expectation shut up. I don't think that my expectation was out of the realm of you know, normal.
Miss Controversy, like, I know you. I don't think your expectation was too much. If anything, we should not be having to juggle somebody having a car and a degree. Like, you have a degree and a car. That's what you can get. You know, and that's why I don't want to talk about this, because I'll start yelling. I'll punch somebody's mom, punch somebody's baby.
Wait.
It's ridiculous for a black woman to have to ask herself, am I asking too much when she got a car and a degree, but she want her mate to have that? I'm just sick of that. I'm sick of that stuff.
Wait. Hold on to that energy. That's where I'm getting to.
That's why I keep talking about this. I'm sorry.
No problem. I need all that energy. I need you to bring that in, because what that's doing right now is letting us know it is time for us to pause. When it's in the middle of that whirlwind of dating and the frustration, it's time to pause and think about the law of attraction. It's time to pause and put it into action, and remember that we can step in and out of the vortex and the matrix and make light of the contrast. Like,
and we can learn from everybody in every situation. So that's how I try to soothe myself and say, well, let me see what I'm learning from this, you know. But at the same time, I know some of my some black women and some white women that I know, they have a higher quality of men to choose from. They really do. And I want to know, you know, where they shopping. I want to know where they shopping, where they going.
Thank you. That's why I said let's do some strategic planning. Like this upcoming week in my life, I got a full tank of gas, and there's some strategic planning in this thing. Dawson, we gonna be going out. You know what I mean? And we're gonna be hanging out strategically, because I'm finna put this thing in full force, full effect, because it is a lot of elements that women have to consider, that men have to consider when they're single, because you do have to begin with the end in mind. So even when you find yourself in something that's not yielding the type of results that you want, take that minute to regroup. Give yourself a week. Like right now, I got to give myself a week, because this fool, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not even that he was a fool. It's just like, wow, you know, the reality is, I'm looking at it from my point of view. He's looking at it from his point of view. And the reality of it all is that we're not connecting because of lack of communication.
Exactly.
And you know, his actions from his point of view are so relevant, and my actions from my point of view are just as, you know, important. But the fact that we can't get on the same page and be like, you know, explain this and that it's not easy, you know, that's what's frustrating. And the other part to that is that relationships may not be as easy as I imagine it in my head. Like, there may be some work. There may be work to it. You know what I mean?
But let's get on the same part. You had mentioned, why do you have to pick from a man who has a car and all this stuff, or doesn't have a degree? And when you look at that with dating, you know, I used to be, you know, when I used to mentor, you know, black boys in my DCF program, I used to tell them, no, man, you got to have this. You got to have, you know, a woman ain't going to want you unless you have this. But then I started looking at a lot of my cousins, some of my homeboys who are black and Hispanic males, and how, and I'm not giving them a way out, but how hard it is for a black male in society. Once you got a felony, I mean, you got brothers out there, they made that mistake when they was when they were a teenager or when they're early 20s, and now they're trying to, you know, make up for it. But when you got a felony, that's keeping you out of all jobs. They're not trying to get that expunged off your record. So that may be keeping you working at a construction site, when you really could go back. You know, you have a degree, but they're going to still see that felony. So then what are you going to do? You're going to lie on your application.
Dawson, you're absolutely right. And I know those kind of situations. And I also know that Miss Controversy and I have dated men without a job, have dated men without a car, and we have seen potential in them and wanted them to do better. So to me, that's not this, because if they are trying to do something and they mean well by a woman, I know so many women who will be glad.
But here's the emotional state.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Wait, but I have to say this, because Z just said something in regards to maturing in our single status. You start looking for not so much those superficial things that used to mean so much to you. Start looking for those things that are really deep. Like, damn, is he compassionate? Is he true? Is he honest?
Does he really want a relationship?
For a man,
that's a very basic question. Do you really want a relationship?
Exactly. But you ladies are seeing it from a lady's point of view. As a man, that is going to bother you when you see all these other men who can provide and stuff, and you have this lady who has her degree and have everything, and you still have some inadequacies or some things you haven't achieved. I don't care who he is. That's still going to bother you, that we have to go out and she's like, oh, you know, I get it. Especially when you know on the next time you won't be able to get it.
Yes, I do do think
So,
that's an incompatibility. I do think that perhaps that man and woman, you know, if he can't get over it, maybe they shouldn't be together. You know what I mean? Because that is some incompatibility if he has to think about that all the time.
and if you
that deals with his insecurity, not necessarily
no.
incompatibility.
But if he does not have, if he cannot get work, and he's working doing jobs like these, you know, the jobs like landscaping, construction, that they get people with felonies or doing waste management, stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. My father's a landscaper, and he has his own business. I've landscaped before.
Right.
And a lot of the guys who worked with us were guys who couldn't, you know, they didn't do good in school. They, you know, they dropped out, or they had a lot of records and they couldn't make it. But I'm not trying to take up for them. I'm just saying that if he's going out with you and you're this polished lady and you know how you talk, Z.MARIE, you have all this, you may say something like, you know, I don't want to be in this restaurant because it's a complete debacle. And he'd be like, debacle? What's that? You know, and he may feel a little different.
You ever heard me say that?
He will feel kind of like, wow, you know, she got this money, she's paying for this date. You know, I could love her, I could do all this thing to her, but man, I don't know what the hell a debacle is. I ain't gonna be on her level. So that may make him feel like, let me go get,
you know
Shaquita in the project.
You know, you guys, it's so funny to me. Like, this is why, you know, I'm talking about it, but this is why I don't want to talk about this, because we immediately go to the brother who ain't got as the example of this. It's plenty of brothers doing well who don't want a relationship, or it's plenty of brothers who doing well who, you know, talk to you and tell you they want one, but then they really don't. They play
Wait. Oh, thank you. They don't know how.
I'm more talking about having a viable mate for us, you know, having enough mates for us that are of a good quality, and that's not based on having education or any of those things. That's based on what the individual woman wants in a man, what the individual man wants in a woman, and those things are different. But like your co-host Denise said, Dawson, one day she was telling me, you know, why you want plenty of fish if you don't have a job or a car, but you looking for a woman? I mean, some things we shouldn't have to say this. Some things are just common sense. Some people want a woman to take care of them. Some people want a woman to raise them. Some people want to, you know, so it's, let's be real.
Wait a minute.
It's not just the broke down brother who, you know, had a bad past. No. We shouldn't automatically go to that example. This is some real stuff where it's brothers with who got stuff going on, and it's like you said earlier, I do agree, Dawson, there's like a crisis. I don't know if it's a crisis, maybe it's okay, where, you know, marriage is just not what it used to be. And I'm not necessarily saying marriage. I would like to get married, but who knows what that means. So I don't have to get married. It's more like, for me, I would love to find, like I said, the quality partner that I want, or just like to go on some quality dates. I have, but they're few and far in between. And that's what I'm really talking about. Like, just meeting good people, and people who are emotionally whole, and people who are, you know, if they had a bad past, they're emotionally available. They want to be loved, and they can accept being loved. So it's like, even though we start to talk about, we talk about jobs, and we talk about money, and we talk about race when it comes to these relationships, but a part of it is just good old-fashioned, do you want to love, and do you want to be loved? Like, I mean, a part of it.
Do you know how? Are you in a position to learn how? Because in this past situation that I've been in recent weeks, I think the guy actually doesn't know how to be in a relationship with a woman like me. Like, I think,
and I know we hear people tell us, Miss Controversy, to stay with that guy, but I done stayed with that guy before, and my advice is to run like hell, because you cannot do something for somebody that they can't do for themselves. That is just a fact.
Wait a minute. So I'm going to pause on that, because that's what I had to realize. I had to realize, like, wait a minute, if our communication isn't there, then there's no way for us to come to a common ground for him to even understand maybe some things that not that I expect, but some things that are must-haves for me, and some things that are definite deal breakers.
Okay, what are your must-haves and what are your deal breakers?
The deal breakers break down to mother freaking communication. Because if we don't have the communication, that means there's a disconnect off rip, and then there's really no point in moving forward if our communication isn't there, because that's the basis of everything. Like if we able to communicate emotionally but not verbally, there's something wrong. Like there's really not a connection there. So
trust. Would you say trust, Miss Controversy, is a part of that? Like I can trust what you say to me?
Yes, it could be, but it could also be a level of maturity. And like a lot of men like have told me that I'm intimidating to them. And I'm like,
you intimidating to me.
Huh?
You intimidating to me.
No, so I'm like, really? How is it that a few weeks ago you was running me down the street?
No, exactly. No, I was completely kidding. I was completely kidding. I'm tired of that one too. I'm tired of
really, like,
men being intimidated by black women. I'm tired of that one too, because I know so many black women who bend over backwards for men that I don't know why they so intimidated. Y'all run some of us in the ground. So why you intimidated? Why you intimidated?
What you intimidated about? No, wait, Dawson, wait.
They always trying to act. They always trying to act like we big bad almighty.
No, just wait. They acting like just because I got a few pieces of my life puzzle lined up that I don't need nobody.
No. I do. First of all, that intimidation says more about you than me. I mean, ugh.
But look here.
That's my point. That's my point.
When I first, no, you ladies, listen. I know you're saying, oh, there are black men who are doing good. There are black men who whatever. As a black male, there are certain stresses that we go through in society for those who are making it, who have arrived and continue to thrive, and those who are at the bottom, that just no matter if we have money, if we're middle class, lower class, whatever, it just unite us together that we're black males or Hispanic males. And that's the stresses of being that every day. And a lot of that plays into sometimes, relationships, emotional and everything. One thing a guy told me, a professor told me when I first started school, he was like, there's no reason. He was like, you're a black male. You got to get a degree. You got to finish. Why? Because they tolerate black women. They're not going to tolerate you. You got to come in with your papers. You got to come in and be the second best. And as I've grown and learned in life, that stands true. Black women get tolerated in everything, or they allow you guys first. Black men, we have the stress of always proving ourselves. We got to be the best. Either we're going to arrive at the top or we're going to be low at the bottom. So if you have a man who already has this in his mind and he feels, I got to make good. I got to be good because she has her degree. She's strong. And I've hung out with both of you ladies before. I don't feel intimidated because I know you. But I could say if I was a guy, and I'm talking from, the brothers I see down here down south, thugged out Dade County. If they were sitting with you, LaToya, at a restaurant, or with Z.MARIE, some of the thugged out Southern boys in Atlanta, if they were sitting with Z.MARIE in a restaurant, I can see why they would feel like, oh man.
But Dawson,
she's a teacher at Rutgers. Listen. She's been teaching at Rutgers. She's all this. She writes columns. She does all this. Man, I don't know if I want a relationship with that. I just want somebody, let's just start off slow. And then you ladies, I'm sure your conversation may not lead into like, oh, what do you want to do in the future, marriage and all this. But a guy can always hint when a girl wants to be married, which is what I told one of my good friends before. Stop trying to chase these men to marry you.
The flaw in that, Dawson, is if I wouldn't be trying to make a husband out of somebody who don't want to be a husband, or I wouldn't be trying to make some, I don't know, whatever smart person or aware person, I don't know, conscious person out of a brother who you said a thug or who don't want to be. Like, I wouldn't even try to change anyone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to go on dates with people who want to go on dates with me. Like, I don't want to put anyone in a position like that.
Exactly. I
wouldn't want to put anyone in a position like that.
But here's the thing.
The last person I dated was very established, but he just sent me mixed messages about sometimes he want to get together and want to build something and want to, eventually have a relationship that is, monogamous. But he said that, talk is cheap. His actions were, you're really beautiful, let's date, let me take you different places. That's what his actions were. Let's go here, let's go there, let's go on vacation. but it wasn't
So why
really,
didn't you just
it
have
wasn't
fun
really growing in a way.
with
Yeah,
that?
I did for a while, but then I was like, you know what? What
You
if
want some more?
what if you know how you get kind of, you know what you want, and so I just
Yeah.
kind of started to get like bored. Really, honestly, I just started to get bored because I wanted something more than that.
Well, this is my question, and we need to start wrapping it up. Is that I want you to not so much depend on the other person to answer that question about why are you single? Why are you still effing single? I want you to turn the mirror and the camera onto you, because that's what I plan on doing for the next week. Because our show next week Sunday at 7:30 on the Vibrate and Elevate Network on Blog Talk Radio is going to be this topic. So we're doing a series of little events leading up to next week's show, which is going to be great. But I want you to turn the microphone, the microscope, everything towards you, and ask yourself, why are you still effing single? But ask it from the point of view of, what have I been attracting? What have I learned about myself and relationships? Myself in relationships. What have I learned in the past? And have I done a good job in that lesson? What did I do to bring the lesson into the new relationship, or what did I do to bring the mess into the new relationship? And I just encourage everybody to be optimistic. And if anybody out there is going through a rough time during your single effing status, you know what I mean? I want you to take a break. Take a break and daydream. Take a break and forgive yourself. Take a break and just breathe.
Forgive Dawson.
And forgive
Forgive
Dawson.
me. I'm just being real. I'm just being real. I just think everybody ought to have fun. Let's not pressure people. Let's not push people to marry us, to be in relationships.
Dawson, some
I
people
think that's
want
the
to be
problem.
married.
But here's the
It's whole
thing.
websites with guys who
Exactly.
do want to be married. But if you don't want to
Exactly.
be married, see ya. Like, I don't even want to try to convince you, because you can't convince somebody to, have a relationship if they don't want it.
Exactly, but there are a lot of women who are, and they're suffering from that, and they're going through a lot of stuff, and men too. But
That's true.
I think that we should just let people, let's just date and see where, I mean, if you know after, what's the time limit you're giving on this? Because you say you go out on these dates and you have fun. Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? Is it 2 years?
I think it's experience. I don't think it's a time limit at all. I think it's an experience, because the interaction that you have with the person, that's going to gauge the time. That's going to gauge everything, because you can fall in love at first sight, or you could be in something and it just be fast paced and you enjoy it and love it.
Okay, now this little thing that you had this past weekend or whatever with whoever this guy was, what was the time? What was the time limit you put on that? Because that was short lived.
I just with the comment that I just said, I don't need a time limit.
That's what I'm saying, but some people do. Some people do. You may not need it.
Question, baby, and I said I don't need a time limit.
I know.
All I need is the interaction. The interaction will let me know whether to stay or to spray mace.
But oh my God! So Hopper, this little situation that happened this past week, how long was that? How long did you wait? How long was that? Was that a month, 2, 3?
Like a month and a half before I gave him the X.
Are you serious?
Because it was too many negative interactions. It was too many failed things.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And I told him, I said, lip service is great, baby, but actions are everything. And that's how you really speak and communicate to me, is by your actions.
Man, you guys, I'm sorry, but I've been in love before. I've been with very good men before. I know how a man or woman acts when they're in love. I mean, it's the same. Those two genders act the same when they're in love.
Yeah.
You know when somebody want to be with you. You know when somebody want to invest in you. You know. I mean, you know when somebody want to invest in you. And that's not me saying that everything is going to be easy. No, relationships are very difficult. You dealing with two different, two separate people trying to come together and build something. And I ain't even going to say complete me. I don't need you to complete me. I just want to enjoy you, and I want you to enjoy me. So I think that has its ups and downs. That definitely has ups and downs. I don't want to get into this fantasy stuff of, love and desire and you should be perfect. I don't think anybody's saying that. I'm just wanting us to be honest and open, and I just want to be able to attract the person that want to be with me, and keep the games at a very minimum, really no games.
Guys, turn up your BS detectors for sure, because you don't want to waste time. And ladies and gentlemen out there, this is one of the things that I do. When I meet someone, or I used to do it, I need to start putting it back into action. When I meet someone, right away that night at home in my meditation time, I say, listen, if this person is for me, keep him here and show me what I'm supposed to do. What is the purpose? Right? What is the goal, right? And if this person is not for me, remove them. And you know what's so crazy? That works every single time, so much so that sometimes I'm afraid to say it, because I want to ride the wave of that something new, or I want to ride the wave of right now, that I may be hesitant to say it, because I'm like, damn, man, I ain't had no action. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what how I wonder what Dawson thinks about this, and I know we're trying to wrap up, but I know some brothers, like just my homeboys, who say that a part of the reason why the dating situation is as it is because some women deal with trifling men, and then they make it hard for like the good men. So like some of the good brothers I know, like, why y'all keep settling for these other guys? Why don't you hook up with me? Like, I'm a good guy. So I wonder what Dawson think about that, because that's kind of like another, realm that we haven't got into.
Yeah, that is another realm too, and especially there are good guys out there, but most girls will see them as a nerdy, or he's just like a friend of me, brother. I don't see him like that. And those guys, eventually, most of them who I know who are like that, they end up dating white women.
Why don't y'all teach those brothers, Dawson? Why don't you teach those brothers how to be smooth? Like if I ever turn down a
but why do I have to? But see, that's like
you don't teach them nothing. You need to introduce me. That's what you need to do.
If I ever met a good guy and didn't like him, it was probably because he didn't like interest me. So I think I want to be interested.
I know, but my cousin told me one time his wife she's an attorney, and she does really well. And at the time when they they weren't going through anything. They were moving. Huh? Yes, he does.
You have a job.
Yes, he does. And they moved in the situation, and it took him a minute to get into the job he has his degree in. And so she was carrying everything and doing everything. And so he talked to me. He was like, man, she's pretty. She could be with the ballers. Her job gives them like, a happy hour at the Fountain Blue and all the celebrities and people there. And he was like, I know she could be with a baller. She told him, look, if I wanted to be with somebody else, I'd be with them or these attorneys, but I'm with you. And, I sensed that in him, that he was feeling like, man, I'm not, I'm not providing just yet. But he has his job and everything. They're doing nice now, got kids and everything. But, there are some, like her, she stood by him. She was right there with him. And some women are not willing to do that. They're going to see the Chad Ochocinco and be like, okay, bye. Or they're going to see this other guy and say, okay, he's cool, bye. Or, this, bye, okay, whatever. You're not this person. And then they get out there, and that doesn't work. That mess up. Then they want to come back to the other person. And that's why I say I mean, everybody's in it on their own. I mean, relationship scene is a dog-eat-dog world. We all just have to take our experiences and try to do the best we can, because there's just and make sure the person you're with, make sure you know everything about them, that they ask questions. I know girls who don't even ask people's HIV status, and they have sex with them. They don't ask, the last person you've been with, is the baby mama crazy, all this kind of stuff. They just jump into relationships because he buy them a 2-piece snack at Popeyes. It's like you can't do that. And it's like when you have those girls out there and these guys out there who accept anything, you're gonna run into these people who you're just like, oh my gosh, you don't have a car, you don't have this, and you're on Plenty of Fish, because the dating scene has allowed all of that just to come in and be infiltrated in. There's really no standards, because you may have a girl who has her doctorate degree that she date a drug dealer, or this lady who has her law degree, but she date a criminal, hint, hint, Phaedra Parks. Come on. And you're looking like, wow, you have all of these accomplishments and this is what you want. But
But
there's
Dawson,
different
that's
things.
what you were just saying. You were saying that, that woman
But
with an
she
elevated
exactly
status,
she
it
gave
has
him
to
a
give him a
chance because
chance.
she did. But here's the same thing. If you're in a marriage and you see things are consistently down spiraling and they're not changing, I'm not gonna hold on to that.
Right, right.
If you see a guy who's saying, I ain't got this, I'm intimidated by you, or a woman, because there's some girls who, they made some mistakes and they're trying to do over, and that connection, when that connection is there, then you can lift each other up and you can do better. There are tons of success stories. But if you
Yeah.
see that there's a constant downward spiral, that, okay, I got you a good job here, but you're still going back to sell drugs on the side, or, gambling the money away. I mean, there are signs in there. There are signs in there. And you have
Hmm.
to choose what you're willing to live with. And
Right.
some people are willing to live with, people who
Foolishness.
do exactly, pretty much, and others are not. And that's my whole take on that, because I think the dating scene now is like it's every man, every woman for themselves, because it's some of everything out there. It's some of everything out there. So I really don't know. But I think that what we can leave on is telling people to really look at themselves. You have to really look at yourself and see what you want out of life. And whoever you date, like you ladies, I agree with that, to see if they're measuring up with what you want. Because sometimes people are just going out and they're dating and they're just looking for people to love them, to give them the love that mama didn't give them, daddy didn't give them, and all this kind of stuff. And you really have to look at yourself and say, hey, is this person for me? Do I want to put up with what they're saying, what they're going through, all this kind of stuff? You really have to do that, because the dating scene now in 2014 and beyond is crazy. It is so crazy. So that's my whole take for dating in 2014. And why am I still effing single? I don't know why we're still single. I mean, some people are single by choice, others are not, and we just got to continue to go on with that. Got to, got to. I think they have left me in this chat all by myself, and I'm keeping it going. I don't know what's going on here, so I don't know. I think we're still going live. I think they fell out. For those who are listening, thank you for listening to Vibrate and Elevate. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna try to hit up Latoya right now to see. We're still learning how to do Google Hangouts, so you got to bear with us. You got to bear with us on this. We're still learning. Hey, what's going on? Are we off? Oh, but sorry, because we're still live. I'm still on Google Hangout now. And yeah. Okay. Uh, Go through the sign up because we're still live. I'm still going here. Go through where you were with the Google Plus situation. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. No, I don't see you. You gotta log back in, call back in, do your whole thing.
relationship status. Hey.
Yeah.
I think Z.MARIE's trying to come back in. My next relationship move is that basically, to take care of myself, to do what I need to do. I am not one of these people who's gun-ho and rushing to get into a relationship and all that kind of stuff. Like I was joking when I said earlier I got customers, but really I'm just happy being me. I get to go where I want, do what I want to do, live the life I have. And then you got to look at people's lifestyles too, far as like, you know, well, not lifestyles, but how they were raised. Because I was raised around a bunch of kids, a bunch of people. My grandma had 12 kids. I come from a big family. And if you come from a big family, I mean, solitude and all that kind of stuff, peace and quiet, that's like golden. If you had to always share stuff with, you know, cousins and things like that, you want to be by yourself. You want to. Most people do. And then there are some people who come from big families who want, you know, a big family. But I'm one of those people, nah. We could never, like, vacation where we wanted to vacation and things like that. So I'm just, like, enjoying life. As so many of my friends are, so I'm happy with that.
Well, I'm excited that you know what you want. How do you think others around you view your decision? My decision?
I really don't care what I don't care how they view it, but I know plenty of people, especially when it comes from my family members. A lot of people, you know, I've had, you know, some of my cousins, you know, who have a couple kids and, you know, some failed marriages. Some of them told me like they envy my whole lifestyle, that I can get up and go, travel, do whenever I want, work. You know, I thank God I've been blessed to have pretty good jobs and stuff like that, you know, to do kind of what I wanted. And some of them, you know, cousins and stuff, they get kind of jealous. You know, some of them have told me they wish they could do it, and I tell them, you know, they can. There are people who have kids who travel, who do what they want to do. It's just that you have to put things, you know, in perspective. You know, you definitely got to take care of your kids, got to take care of home, and then save up and stuff like that. But there are some people. What? Go ahead.
I asked that question
Go ahead.
Because as a female, what I've experienced, you get so much outside bullshit, projection, other people projecting on you what they think your relationship status should be.
Yeah.
I have family members thinking that I'm gay because they never see my boyfriend.
Yeah, of course you go through
and
that.
I'm like, my life, the way that I was brought up, my mom was crazy.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So, like, my dating life was always, like, private.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, that's bled over into my adult life. So it's not like I'm parading around with this dude, like, oh, look who I got.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you really that simple? And them saying, you know, degrading, you know, just things that could be hurtful to somebody who's not strong. And I'm like, yo, dumbass.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? Like, really? That's all you have to say is who I'm effing?
Yeah.
Like, who are you? You are a loser. So that's why I asked about, you know, other people around you. And you do have to shun them away. And, like, even with my mom, like, I heard her, she made a comment about praying for a certain type of man for me. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't approve that prayer. I did not approve that message. Like, because you don't know what the hell I want. You know what I mean? You may be saying prayer, like, specific things. Like, I need you to back up and back down. Or you need to come to me and ask me, you know, is there something in particular for you that you're looking for?
Exactly.
And maybe I can help you. You know what I mean? Versus saying, I'm praying for you, a man, to do this and to do that and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what? I don't need that.
Yeah.
So it's being in a relationship or even being single is so much involved.
Yeah.
From community, from the family, from your emotional state.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. So.
Exactly, but this side I have to think like this. But what I have is a mentality to just say fuck them, because at the end of the day, I got to pay my own bills. I got to take care of everything I got to do. And sometimes the family will have, and friends will have, well, my friends are good, but family will have so much to say that when it comes time to taking care of issues, nobody's there to help you if you need a helping hand. So, you know, pretty much most of my friends have degrees. They're doing well. They're educated. They're smart. Most of them are single. Both a lot of my female friends and my homeboys, my male friends. And you know, they don't feel the pressure from family because most of them end up helping their family by sending money, going to assist and things like that. Whereas if they were in a relationship, most of all your time and your resources is going to be towards your relationships and things you're doing. So I really don't I don't pay attention to that because I would never, the type of family I come from, we really didn't, I didn't get the exposure to life as like some young white kids at 17 get, that when I travel, I'm like, dang, their parents send them at 17 and 16 on a trip to Las Vegas. I'm just here now, you know, in my late 20s going to Las Vegas. You know, that exposure I never got. So I feel like I'm making up for times. I never got to go to Mexico and all those different kind of places that, you know, people just send their kids at like any age, here, go with your brother and sister, and I get. And so I look at my family like they deprived me in that area because they didn't show me the vastness and of the world and things that I could achieve and do. A lot of that stuff I had to look at, you know, other people to see that, you know, to travel, to have a good life, to, you know, to get educated and stuff. I couldn't see that in my family. So I don't let their views and what they say about me deter anything I do in my life, because what I'm doing now is based on seeing other outside influences that I wouldn't have seen in my family. So I don't let that stop me at all, at all. And I think they know that too.
I think the show is about to end.
Yeah.
I want to thank you and Z.MARIE for being available to be on the call.
Peace.
It's my first time tinkering with Google Plus, all because of you, Dawson. Thank you so much for pushing me to the technological realm of